Hi everyone, I'm Amelia. Today we're talking about a company that didn't just build electric cars, it completely changed the way the world thinks about technology, transportation, and the future itself. Because just a few years ago, most people thought electric cars were a joke, slow, expensive, impossible. But then Tesla happened. From near bankruptcy in 2008 to becoming a trillion-dollar company, Tesla became one of the most controversial and ambitious companies on Earth. And if you enjoy stories about technology, business, and the companies reshaping our world, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because Tesla's story might be even crazier than you think. The rise of Tesla. In the early 2000s, the internal combustion engine held a total monopoly on global transport. Millions of fossil fuel vehicles dominated the roads, with exhaust emissions remaining an unquestioned reality of daily life. The industry consensus at the time held that electric vehicles were slow, unattractive, and technically unfeasible. Major manufacturers had already abandoned their efforts. General Motors had recently recalled and destroyed its EV1 fleet. Tesla launched as a small Silicon Valley startup with no factory, no product, and no history in manufacturing. Elon Musk provided the initial $6.5 million in funding, though he joined as an investor rather than the chief executive. Instead of attempting to build a high-volume, affordable car, the company pursued a counterintuitive strategy. They focused on producing a low-volume, high-performance supercar to challenge industry perceptions. This was the 2008 Roadster. With a 0 to 60 time of 3.7 seconds and a 244-mile range, it provided the first evidence that electric propulsion could match or exceed the performance of a gasoline engine. This performance came at a staggering price. Production costs far exceeded the company's internal projections, quickly draining Tesla's remaining cash reserves. The Roadster served as a high-stakes proof of concept. It existed to demonstrate to a skeptical public that electric vehicle technology was a viable path forward for the automotive industry. Tesla's internal financial struggles collided with the 2008 global financial crisis. As the economy collapsed, credit markets tightened, and outside investment virtually disappeared. Internally, the company was fracturing. Delays in Roadster production were mounting, and disagreements between the founding members threatened to collapse the organization from within. With only weeks of operating cash left, Musk took over as CEO. He implemented a massive reduction in staff and committed the remainder of his personal wealth to keep the company solvent. Survival in the automotive sector required a shift in focus. The company moved away from its early idealism and adopted a strategy of aggressive, wartime crisis management. To secure the capital necessary for mass production, Tesla went public in 2010. This marked the first initial public offering by an American car manufacturer since Ford's debut in 1956. The resulting funds launched the Model S. After winning several major industry awards, the vehicle saw a surge in sales that gave the company its first taste of mainstream legitimacy. The Model S introduced two massive technical shifts: the autopilot driver assistance system and the capability for over-the-air updates. This connectivity allowed Tesla to transmit new features and performance improvements to thousands of vehicles simultaneously, long after they had left the showroom. Tesla treated the vehicle as a mobile software platform. This approach meant the hardware purchased on day one could gain entirely new capabilities overnight through wireless code. Success led to a period of over-engineering. The Model X featured overly complex designs, such as the Falcon Wing doors, which proved difficult to manufacture and created significant delays on the assembly line. These setbacks led to the company's most significant wager yet, the Model 3. Tesla aimed to produce an affordable, high-volume car, a goal that required manufacturing at a scale they had never before attempted. Hundreds of thousands of customers placed pre-orders almost immediately. This surge in demand placed an enormous strain on Tesla's production facilities, which were already struggling to maintain quality. Between 2017 and 2018, the company entered a period of extreme industrial stress. Faulty automated lines forced engineers to perform manual assembly work directly on the factory floor to meet delivery targets. The crisis demanded constant oversight. Musk began sleeping at the factory to monitor production, personally intervening in the manufacturing process to keep the lines moving. Tesla's current market position is the product of these high-stakes manufacturing risks. Their growth came from surviving these self-inflicted crises on the assembly line. By 2018, this transition had triggered a severe financial crisis. The company was burning through its cash reserves at an alarming rate, and leadership publicly admitted they were weeks away from total bankruptcy. Take a look at this chart tracking weekly Model 3 production. To generate enough cash to survive, they had to cross a specific threshold, manufacturing 5,000 units per week. Anything less meant the end of the company. Hitting that number required tearing up the conventional rulebook. They constructed a makeshift assembly line inside a massive tent in the factory parking lot, demanding grueling hours from the workforce to push cars through the queue by any means necessary. They finally cleared the 5,000 car mark. Surviving that specific bottleneck erased the lingering doubts about their manufacturing capabilities and established them as a legitimate auto manufacturer. With the threat of bankruptcy in the rearview mirror, leadership initiated a relentless campaign of physical expansion across the globe. To meet surging international demand and cut shipping costs, they began constructing localized gigafactories. Huge industrial footprints rapidly appeared in Nevada, Berlin, Texas, and here in Shanghai. The production volume from these facilities poured into the market. By the end of 2023, their compact SUV, the Model Y, bypassed traditional gas-powered stalwarts to become one of the best-selling vehicles on the planet. Building millions of units across 3 continents silenced the skepticism. The debate over whether the public would adopt electric vehicles at a mass market scale was closed. As consistent profitability set in throughout 2020 and 2021, financial markets reacted with ferocity. The company's stock value surged wildly upward. This chart compares peak market capitalizations. Their valuation shattered records, crossing $1 trillion, dwarfing Toyota, Volkswagen, and GM combined. But notice the discrepancy. The actual manufacturing volume couldn't justify that financial number compared to legacy brands. At the same time, they unveiled the Cybertruck. With its sharp, unpainted stainless steel angles, it was a deliberate, polarizing rejection of established automotive design logic. Wall Street had begun pricing the company as a software and robotics conglomerate, treating its physical manufacturing as a delivery mechanism for future high-margin digital services. The massive fleet of vehicles on the road now serves as a distributed network for data harvesting, with every mile driven training the neural networks required for full autonomy. The first pillar of this strategy relies on developing autonomous robotaxis. The stated goal is to deploy fleets of self-driving vehicles that operate around the clock, aiming to make individual car ownership obsolete. The second pillar shifts away from vehicles entirely. They are actively developing the Tesla Bot, a humanoid robot engineered to eventually replace human labor on the factory floor and beyond. The third pillar focuses on global power grids. They are deploying massive utility-scale battery systems, known as megapacks, designed to store renewable energy and supply power directly to major cities. Success in these initiatives makes the physical car a minor footnote in their business model. They evolve into a foundational infrastructure layer, powering the physical hardware of the AI age. However, pivoting attention away from basic car manufacturing carries severe risks. They are now facing an aggressive wave of international competition, largely driven by Chinese automakers like BYD, who are flooding the market with cheaper electric options. Immediate pressures are mounting. Vehicle profit margins are shrinking across the board, and their foundational autonomous driving software is facing intense regulatory scrutiny regarding its safety. This represents the largest gamble in the company's history. They are risking the stability and market share they earned as an automaker to chase an artificial intelligence future that remains largely theoretical. The market is waiting for an answer to a binary question. Will this evolution solidify them as the dominant hardware provider of the modern world, or will the valuation collapse into a historic tech bubble? Tesla's success forced a total overhaul of the global automotive landscape, but its future now hinges on the ability to turn speculative science fiction into a functioning reality.